Some tragic news to get to. Friends star Matthew Perry passed away this past weekend at the age of 54 after apparently drowning, TMZ reports. Sources have told TMZ that Perry died at his own house after some physical activity Saturday morning. TMZ was told that Perry came home sometime in the morning on Saturday after playing 2 hours of pickleball, then sent his assistant out on an errand, and when the assistant returned shortly thereafter, he discovered Perry unresponsive and called 911.
According to TMZ, it is unclear if what Perry was doing prior to his death that day played any role in his passing, and the investigation into his death is underway. Sources say he was found unresponsive in a jacuzzi at his home, and that there were no drugs found on the scene, nor foul play involved. So I think this death is tragic. He was really beloved by a lot of people. He was someone who dedicated his life to service. He's someone who struggled with substance abuse, and he said, whenever someone comes up to me, an alcoholic or a drug addict, and they say, "Will you help me?" I will always say, "Yes, I know how to do that. I'll do it for you," even if I can't always do it for myself, he said. And so this is really honorable work. He invested a lot of his own personal money into houses where people struggling with substance abuse could get sober. And this is what he says he wants to be remembered for. And I think that's really beautiful.
Absolutely. Beloved figure to so many. Friends was a very generational television show. It was a big part of people's lives, people my age and older and younger. And he was such a wonderful presence on that show. As you note, very open about his history of struggling with substance abuse, health issues, etc. So we have no idea. And his ongoing struggle with those things. We have no indication that played any role in here. He'd had a history of medical problems and heart problems, and it could absolutely be under an accident, something just tragic hitting a man only 54. These kinds of deaths always take us by surprise because people can live to a very ripe old age now, and it feels like we've been in some sense cheated of what his contributions would have been over the subsequent decades. So very sad, seeing an outpouring on social media for how much the character he played on Friends and on a lot of it wasn't a one-hit wonder on all sorts of other programs meant to people. His speaking, his book, very important figure, and this is truly very, very, very sad news.
Yeah, he's someone that dedicated, his personal life to an issue he cared a lot about. The Perry House is a house in Malibu, sober living for adult men. He dedicated a lot of his life to advocating for people who are struggling with substance abuse to get sober, and he did this through art as well. The End of Longing is a play that he made and produced, and it depicts him, an exaggerated version of what he felt like he was when he was drunk. And as someone who knows so many people who have used substances and decided to get sober, it's just really beautiful that even if he admits, I'm not perfect, I'm not fully able to get sober myself, but I'm going to help every single person that says they want to get sober. I think that's great. And I think it's a consequence of our lack of proper health care in this country that so many people end up using substances to address mental health issues. They end up self-medicating. And there's not a lot of sober living facilities supported by our healthcare system. It's become a philanthropic endeavor for people like Matthew Perry to invest so much of their personal money and their life into making sure that there's a place for people to fall back on when they decide to get sober and receive the help that they need. It's a little bit crazy that we encourage so much drinking in the United States, knowing how bad it is for our lives and bodies. It's kind of been the drug of choice to let loose from all of the stress we feel in our daily lives. And Matthew Perry is one of the good people that took that issue in his own hands and decided to address it himself. And he said that upon being dead, he knows that a lot of people will talk about his personal life and talk about friends, but he really wants people to talk about that. So I feel an obligation to do so because it's really important work.
His family said Matthew brought so much joy to the world, both as an actor and a friend. You all meant so much to him, and we appreciate the tremendous outpouring of love. Rest in peace. We'll have more Rising right after this.